Alright, so today I'm going to be showing you guys how to draw some cartoon chickens. We're going to start with some chicken parts first. I'm going to show you some examples here of what we're going to be doing. We're going to start by learning just the beak and the eyes sort of shape, and then we will move on to putting it all together. You can draw these, anybody can draw these. They're just basic shapes, curves, lines, circles, putting them all together to make fun little cartoon chickens. And there's a couple more here I haven't painted yet. So I'll show you how to do a couple different kinds of eyes, a couple different kinds of beaks, and then we'll get started. So first things first, some beaks. Beaks are just a little U shape like this to start, and then a little V shape underneath it like this. Already starting to look like a beak. That V shape gets expanded out like this, curvy lines, and then you make little diagonal lines up here and curve them under here. You don't actually have to attach the lines to anything. I know it's tempting to bring them up and attach them. It kind of looks better if you just leave them floating there. So this is just a curvy L shape, this is a weird curvy V, and a curvy sort of a U. You can add more details if you want. You could add some little nostrils if you want. You can add some shading, but you don't have to. So that's one kind of beak. I'll show you another one. This one I like to start kind of curvy on the bottom, so it's like a V shape, but it curves on the bottom. Okay, and then up here, start over here with a curvy line over here, U shape up here. You can bring this in if you want. You can connect it if you want. So that's another kind of beak, more roundy than the first one. Okay, and then let's do kind of a really extreme one. If you want to make it super pointy and severe looking, start with two little lines here, big deep V shape, pretty big V shape up here, and some little lines on the side coming in. Okay, so that's a different kind of beak. You can go anywhere you want with these. You can change any of these, add things onto them. You can make them more curvy, more pointy, whatever you like. So there's some beaks. We'll do some eyes over here next. So eyes are a little bit more tricky. You can do a lot of different expressions with eyes. I almost always start with just a circle. Little circle here, little circle here. They don't need to be the best circles in the world, just make a circle. And then, so that's the outside of the eye, like on this guy. That would be this part of the eye. Then you need some pupils. So the pupils go inside, and wherever you put the pupils, that's where the bird is looking. So if you put them here and here, it's going to be looking kind of up here. If you put them here and here, it's going to be looking down here. I usually like to stick them right in the center or kind of in the middle up top. So another little circle, and when you fill them in, it helps to leave a little bit of white in the middle because pupils have a reflection in them. So if you leave a little bit of it white and don't fill it in all the way, then you get it more realistic looking. Okay, so there's circle eyes. You could also do kind of more expressions if you wanted. So maybe I'll start with some diagonal lines here and then add a U shape on the bottom like this, U shape on the bottom like this, some little circles here for the pupils. Again, fill them in, but not all the way. And then you could even, if you wanted to take that further, you could add some little eyelids onto here by curling these up any way you want. Okay, let's see what else we can do. Sometimes it's fun to do eyelids that are more dopey looking. So to do that, start with a little roundy shape like this, then do your U shape underneath your little pupils. you can make these come up a little bit more, curve them up. Again, they don't need to attach to anything. You can leave them hanging like that. That's how cartoons sometimes are. And you get kind of more dopey eyes. Alright, and let's do one more. How about a very serious bird next? Do straight lines, 1 and 2. U shape underneath. Bring these up a little bit more so they really look like eyelids. Curvy line, curvy line. And then maybe I want this guy's eye or his pupil to be way up here so he looks kind of bored or maybe a little angry. So his pupil's way up here. I only did half of a circle for that and color it in. But leave the white for the reflection. And there we've got some fun chicken eyes, okay? One more thing I want to show you is the comb and the wattles. When you're making a chicken, what really makes it look like a chicken and not just like a regular bird is the comb and the wattles. This is the comb. They call it that because a lot of times it really looks like a comb. It looks like 3 little bumps. And this is the wattles down here, the little jiggly things that hang from the beak. So to draw those, they're kind of more free. You can draw, so say this is my beak here, the top part of my beak, like this. You can draw just kind of like curvy lines that come up from it, curvy lines that attach to that, curvy lines attaching up here. I like to do little squiggles while I go, and one up there. So that's like one kind of waddle. Let's see about another one. Maybe I want this one to look more like an actual comb. You can start with a little U shape. Say this is my beak. Getting sloppy now. Do another little bump, another little bump, and maybe one more up here. Okay, and let's do one more kind of, there's some chickens that have beaks that, oh, running out of lead. Some chickens have beaks like this, they're a little lower down, and then they have wattles that start way out on the outside, and they only come up just a little bit, like this. They have a lot of little bumps inside, like that, okay? Combs. Wattles also go around the beak, so you have your beak like this. Wattles go down here, so in between the V of the beak and the bottom part of the mouth here. Wattles go like this, little curvy line, doesn't need to attach to anything, just stick it on there. You can make it a little more realistic by sticking another little curvy line in there, okay? So some chickens have really long wattles, some chickens have really short wattles. So if you have another beak here, a short wattle might go like this, just a little curvy U, like so, okay? So next we're gonna be putting it all together. So practice all of those, play with it, have fun with it. You can make different beaks than I made, you can make different eyes than I made. Have fun, and we will meet again for the full chicken. All right, so next I'm gonna show you how to draw basically these 3 chickens. Now, I drew these 3 chickens a couple months ago. I'm gonna redraw them today, but they are not gonna look exactly the same. That's how art is. And remember that at home, when you're drawing something, yours is not gonna look exactly like mine. Unless you practice over and over and over and over again for years, yours is not gonna look exactly like mine because you have your own style, your hands are different than mine, your brain works different than mine. Even for me, I'm the same person who drew these. Even today, the new ones aren't going to look exactly like this. So keep that in mind when you're working at home. So I'm going to use these 3 because they are all quite different looking, and I can show you a lot of different styles for these 3 chickens. I'm not going to paint them. I'm not going to ink them. These were done with colored India ink and watercolor paint. So I'm not doing any of that today. We're just drawing, okay? So let's start with this girl right here. I do think today I will add some wattles onto her. Maybe, I don't know. I like her like that, but she doesn't look like exactly like a chicken to me without wattles, so we'll see how that goes. So I'm gonna break my little sketchbook up into some sections here, rough sort of sections. Okay, so we're starting with this girl here. I like to look at my space first, figure out how much room I have to fit her, and then try to decide where everything's gonna go first. So I'm kind of mapping out the drawing. So her beak is basically in the center of her head space and her neck space. So I'm gonna do that first, and I'm gonna really put it right here in the center of this. Starting with that sort of U shape. This little guy here, mine's a little bit bigger. Like I said, it's not gonna be exactly identical. And then we're gonna do this sort of a U shape down here. And see how it comes out like this. Comes out past the first U on both sides. And then it has that little curve around it like this and like this. So that's kind of our beak. She has little nostrils here. I'll add those in. This one's already quite a bit wider than the first one. I could change that, I could erase. I'm just gonna go with it. Just showing you the basic idea here. So then we're gonna do her eyes next. Her eyes are above the beak and off to the side. You don't wanna put them right in the middle because we need room for the comb there. So the eyes, I'm gonna start right here. Basic little circle. Remember, you always want to use light, sketchy lines when you're drawing so you can erase easily. Another one over here. Try to get it to look as much the same as you can, but it's never going to be identical to the first one. That's just how drawing is. It's like that for everybody. Okay, and then to make her more girly, I added on these extra little points on the end. So I'm going to do that here, a little point here, a little point up here. And I think I added a couple little eyelashes onto her too. When you're doing a cartoony chicken, you can do it any way you want. Okay, now for her pupils. Her pupils are very big. I put them right here, nice circle here, nice circle here. And for her, when I painted her, I added in multiple reflections inside of her eye. You can do that, or you can add just one. It's up to you. They're kind of fun. You can stick them wherever you want. I like to just put a bunch in there. The more reflections you add, to me, the more cartoony it looks. So if you want it really cartoony, you can add a bunch and then shade it in, color it in. I'm not going to color this all that carefully today, just a little bit. I could go really crazy on it and go super dark, but we just don't have time for that. Okay, so next we'll do the comb. The comb is right in between the eyes and it goes up a little bit farther than the eyes. So this is very free, like I said in the last video, or the last part of this video. This is a very free practice. You're just making some fun little curvy lines. Doesn't need to look just like mine. They kind of snake in with each other. Connect sometimes, sometimes they don't. Fun little bumps. They go all the way up here and come back down. Okay, so I think I will add just a few little waddles down here. One here, little ones, and one over here. Let's see. Okay, and then for her feathers, we'll add those next. Those are very free. I'm not really going to be too careful with this. They come up like this first. Come up from out of this little crease here where the eye is. Come up and out. Really, with things like feather lines, less is more. You don't want to do like a million lines in there or else it's going to be really overwhelming to look at. You want to just do enough to give the gist of what the chicken looks like. Some coming out here, some coming out here. And then down here, they kind of start under the eye here and come out. They can be curvy, they can be straight. These are very free, just whatever you're feeling in the moment. Some there, and then they come down here. A lot of chickens have cute little beards, so I guess that was the idea I had with this girl. Cute little beard coming out. And then for the neck, chicken necks are very skinny. Comes down like this. Lots of little lines in the neck. And then if you want to do shoulders, it would come back out again. Losing lead again. Okay, so same chicken, same idea, totally different look. That's okay, that's how drawing goes, okay? Next one, we're gonna do this guy now. This guy's kind of dopey looking. I guess he looks kind of angry. Kind of reminds me of a drill sergeant with those big eyes, big lids. So same exact start as our first one here. We're gonna start with the beak because it's closest to the middle of our project. The comb is the top, bottom of the neck is the bottom. Okay, so start with the beak right in the middle of your space. This is my space, middle would be right about here. Start with a big U here. And then she had a really gentle, sort of a curvy beak. He has quite a sharp beak here. So we're gonna do like a deep V, make it really pointy on the bottom. And it comes out a little bit, curvy lines. And then he has kind of more of a curvy L, like a longer L. Comes down like this and in, down like this and in. Okay, now we will do his eyes next. His eyes are gonna go up here. One here, one here. He has really big eyes, but we're actually gonna start with the eyelid. Okay, just like in practice, start with the eyelid. It's just a straight line going straight across like this. One here, one over here. And then his eye is a U shape that comes down from there. U shape here, U shape here. That one's way bigger than this one, so I'm actually gonna make this a little bit bigger so that they match better. And then his pupils come down from his eyelid like this. He is a very grumpy chicken. Okay, now this does not look exactly like this, and that's okay. If you want yours to look more exactly like this, you would start by putting this line further down so that your U wouldn't have to be as big, okay? It's up to you, however you want to make your chicken. This guy has a ton of little reflections in his eye. I'm just gonna do one. I'm gonna put it right here. This one's gonna be a tiny bit different. One little reflection. The rest of this gets colored in. Over here, same thing. Color, color, color. Okay, now this eyelid needs to come up a little bit. Curvy here, curvy here. This needs to come out more and then curve up. Little curve on the top. He has ginormous eyes. Same over here and up here. Okay, now for his comb, it's going to go in between all of this and way up to here. So his comb, I started kind of down here along the beak. I made it kind of curvy on the edges. Comes up, curvy lines. Your curvy lines don't have to look like my curvy lines. As long as they're curvy lines, that's what matters. Up here, little lumps and bumps coming out. Curves around. Add some in the middle here for some texture. And that part's done. And down here, we'll add some wattles. I want to make my wattles a little bit bigger than this. Those are pretty tiny. I'm going to add some bigger ones on here. Remember, it's just a U shape coming down from the side of the beak. Some more little U shapes inside for some texture. Okay, and then this one is not nearly as feathery as this one is. This one has lots of feathers sticking out everywhere. This one's going to be a little bit more sleek. Chickens all kind of look different. There's lots of breeds of chickens. They all have different looks to them. So this one's more sleek. So I'm going to meet his eye, well, his eyelid up here with this line. Come down with it. It's going to come out a little bit first. Same up here. Meet the eyelid. Down a bit first. Out. And then back in. And then his neck goes straight down like this. Okay, And then if you want to add some more details, you could add in little texture lines, you could add in feather lines coming down from here, or you can do that if you wanted to add paint or colored pencil, or however you want to finish it off, you could do that with your color as well. Okay, so Grumpy Chicken's done. Now let's move on to this jolly little guy. Now he's pretty happy. He has the same sort of idea as this guy, more sleek than the feathery one, but he's a little more dopey, a little happier looking. So, exact same start. Start with the beak in the middle, always. This one has a tiny, cute, tiny little V shape here, or U shape. And then the beak comes way down, really big point, and way back up. And then his beak, he's kind of happy looking. His beak actually curves around on the outside like a little smile. See that right there? A little smile. And then he has curvy line. Comes down like this. Curvy line over here. And back in. Up here, he has some little nostrils here, his happy little nostrils, and then we're ready to start the eyes. So, the eyes are not quite as circular as this one was. They're more ovally shaped. And actually, I made these both kind of different shapes, which is kind of interesting. I don't know why I did that day, that just happened. We're going to make them a little bit more the same in this one. So, we're going to do an oval shape for the eye. One here, and one over here. And then the pupils are gonna go kind of up top, but also toward the inside, so he's looking like up here. And then let's put a reflection in there. I'll put one here and color. You can also, you don't have to fill this in with pencil also. If you're planning on painting or using colored pencil, you can save coloring in the pupil for whatever color you're going to use. Okay, so there's his little pupils. Looks like this one's a little too big still. Bring it in just a touch. When you need to fix something, guys, don't erase the whole entire thing and start over again. Fix first and then erase what you don't need anymore. So like maybe I want this to be in a little more. I don't want this little bit on the bottom. I wouldn't erase the whole eye and start all over again. That's crazy. Okay, now we're gonna do his comb next. His comb is kind of skinny and comes up pretty tall. He's got a lot of big long bumps like this that come up on his comb. He's got some that pop out. Chicken combs, if you've ever seen them in real life, they are crazy looking. They've got all sorts of bumps and lumps and divots and crevices and all sorts of weird stuff. Okay, so there's his comb, lots of curvy lines, lots of U-shapes. And he is not really, his eyes are not looking complete to me, so I'm gonna add an eyelid. Just adding a curvy line here, just to make him a little more sweet looking. So he's kind of sweetly looking at you instead of being all bug-eyed. Okay, a little eyelid, color it in if you want, just like that. Okay, now we do the wattles down here. These are small, wide wattles. Again, wattles come in all shapes and sizes, like this. And now we will add on his head. Now, his head's a little bit different than this guy's head. This guy's head, his eyelids made up the top of his head, and that's not the case with this one. So we're gonna make the top of his head come out by his comb, over here and over here. Come down by his eyes, and then you see it bumps back out again for his cheeks. So I don't have a lot of space on either side, but I'm gonna bump it out a little bit, use what I have. I'm not gonna start all over again. We're invading this guy's space a little bit, that's okay. And then come back down, skinny neck, all the way down to the bottom of the page. And then if you want, you can always add in your little texture lines. You want to kind of follow the way that the feathers would naturally move. So they would be coming from the comb out like this and then curve down. And down like this. But you know what? It's your art. You can do it however you like. Always remember that. Okay. So there we have our 3 little chicken sketches. You can go anywhere with this. If you want to make yours totally different, go for it. It's your artwork. You can do lots of different designs. You can add different eyes to different birds. You can mix and match, whatever you like. So, bye for now. I will see you next time for more fun drawing.